Yon!
Hello!
Musta, bro?
Okay naman.
Someone is back from Cebu.
Fresh galing Cebu. Sarap sa Cebu.
Yes.
Gusto kong pasalamatan lahat ng mga nag-alaga sa amin doon at sumama sa amin sa pag-ikot sa Cebu. Yan. Gusto kong pasalamatan.
Ayong gabi.
Kung PJ Garcia, kapatid ni Governor Gwen, na sinamahan kami sa buong pag-ikot sa Cebu. So kauwi ko lang kahapon. So 4 days akong doon. Naikot namin yung buong Cebu. So,
first time basis na kayo ngayon ni Ma'am Gwen?
Hindi ko nakausap. I didn't get the chance to talk to
Sige
Governor.
na nga, chismisan mo. So, kamustang Cebu? It made some waves. It seems Cebu keeps on popping up at the center of discussion kasi literally sa center daw sila. So the other month, di ba, ito yung meeting ng mga jet setters. Sila, Sara and Marcos. And then ngayon, Isko naman daw i-consider to endorse. Can you tell us if you can say, ano yung circumstances, bakit choose pumunta sa Cebu this early, siguro si Isko, or is it even early? Kamusta yung mga activities? How was the reception? And how do you think about Cebu? Kasi ako, half jokingly, I said it's a swing state. So may mga nag-react na Mala Florida effect ang Cebu. So, does Gwen Garcia even have a black vote power? Sige, pag-usapan natin yan. Can you tell us something about it, Mark?
Talagang critical yung sa Cebu. Actually, ang isa sa mga na-realize ko, habang umikot kasi kami sa mga bayan-bayan, yung mga talagang sulok. Yung mga tao na sa beaches, mga tinamaan nung pandemic na wala yung tourism. Tapos mas doon mo ma-realize yung election doon napapanalo sa mga bayan na ganoon Kasi yung mga probinsya natin, puro may mga ganong bayan. Yung mga tao hindi naman madalas nag-social media, hindi naman mostly affected sila nung pangyayari doon sa bayan nila, sa probinsya nila, sa radyo, sa TV. So mukhang doon talaga makukuha yung eleksyon and napaka-importante nung mga alliances on a local level. Ang maganda sa One Cebu, yung kanilang...
Can you tell us more about One Cebu? So what is the One Cebu? Who leads it? Ano yung mga composition? Yeah.
Yun. So yung One Cebu, ito yung grupo na pinangungunahan ni Governor Gwen, yung kanyang kapatid si Congressman PJ. Tapos maraming mga mayors and mga congressman and mga LGU, mga elected officials na member nitong One Cebu. Similar din siya sa One Batangas. Yung grupo naman nila Ralph Recto na they will all support just one candidate when it comes to presidential. So yun yung so
ano yung command vote? Parang command vote, may pagkaganon?
May command vote dun sa level lang nung sa mayor, councilor, lahat ng mga tumatakbong elected officials na nasa ticket. So ang objective nitong mga 1-1 na to sa iba't ibang parte ng bansa is to eliminate mga kalaban I mean, para walang tumatakbo so that many of them can run unopposed.
Sure.
So that's how they do
So monopolistic ang
So parang ganun So for example, sa Makati, wala nang lumaban So parang nagiging one ticket na lang sila. So nakokonte yung mga tumatakbo against them. So ganun yung sa Cebu. Kaya napaka-importante talaga yung suporta ni Governor Gwen kung sino yung kanyang mapipili. And I think now it comes down to 2 names, si Isko and si Bongbong Marcos. So yun ang pinagpipilian nila.
So Gwen is not gonna meet Pacquiao or Lacson or Lenny? You don't think there's gonna be the possibility for that?
I think si Lenny hindi. Parang nung isang araw lang parang hindi din sila ganun ka okay doon
sa Pacquiao? What about Pacquiao or Tito Soto?
Pacquiao baka hindi din. So I think doon sa 2 names na yon.
Right. So it goes down to them. So hindi pa finalized, no? So hindi pa finalized.
Kasi they are waiting up to November 15.
Kasi I'm checking yung
final. Kasi may factor din kung for example if tumakbo si Sara, 'di ba?
So that's still a possibility.
That's still a possibility.
Really interesting.
'Di ba yung kanyang daughter ni Governor Gwen is the spokesperson of Sara.
Yes.
Mayor ng Liloan Town. Tapos yung I think yung asawa nung kanyang anak ay congressman naman. So marami silang mga baluarte na tinatawag So it comes down sa November 15. So after doon sila mamimili. And malaki talaga yung maitutulong kapag yung mga ganun na local ano.
That's interesting. So Sara is still in the conversation. So nothing was really finalized then.
Wala talaga, nothing is finalized lang. Basta ang huling sinabi lang is seriously considering. Kasi hanggang November 15 pa eh. So hindi pa makita kung ano yung final.
Ano bang hinihintay nila, Mark?
I think
waiting for the survey numbers? Or I mean,
No.
on the part of Sara, why didn't she run last month? Like, what's the difference tatakbo na October or November? Wala naman ma-surprise if ever, right?
Si Sara, kasi if she runs, then that changes yung kanilang magiging pagpipilian. Instead of just 2 names, it will be 3 names.
So you're saying Sara is choice number 1, Isko potentially number 2, and Bongbong third. Is that what you're saying?
Mahirap mag-ranking, pero yung tatlong yun yung in the conversation.
So kamusta naman yung reception, yung mga people you're meeting? By the way, Mark, tama yung sinabi mo, yung silent majority. Literally yung mga tao wala sa internet masyado or wala sa media, but they are voters. There are millions of voters across the country na hindi natin narinig. Hindi puro mga Imperial Manila, mga malalaking syudad ang narinig natin. So thanks for pointing that out. I think people forget that. Para malakas lang sila ang Twitter, Facebook, akala nila. That's it. But the big votes are actually there in mga far-flung areas, the silent majority. So kamusta yung reception kay Isko? I mean, Isko is Bisaya himself by his background, right? So did he speak Bisaya to them? Was there like a kind of back and forth there, conviviality? Kamusta?
I think yun yung advantage ni Isko pag sa ganung setup pag iikot sa mga probinsya na ganun. Yung of course advantage niya yung good looks, yung artista good looks. So that's always a big plus. So
it's a big draw.
Big draw talaga. Ang parati naman niyang base maski sa Manila, sa Manila days niya yung mga gays, yung mga LGBT. Yun talaga ang kanyang talaga ang kanyang most passionate supporters. And yun yung bumati sa amin nung umikot kami doon sa mga probinsya.
Ayun. Sama na ako next time, ha?
Sama ka next time.
Tingnan natin. Sige. Embedded.
Nag-ano kami, more on listening tour sa mga local na lugar. So ayun.
Sa Bisaya yung exchange, yung medium of exchange, English, Tagalog. Okay.
May mga a few Bisaya words then and there pero konti lang. Pero malaki yung focus ni Isko sa Cebu. I think more than other provinces that I saw. Kasi sa billboards lang, ilan ang
than Western Visayas or
mga 8 billboard yata yung nakita ko. I think sa ibang provinces there are radio ads there pero I think mas buhos ng talaga sa Cebu. Na parang naniniwala sila na Cebu is winnable, kayang ipanalo yung Cebu. So, yun yung naging focus.
Mark, is this because I think we heard from Lito Banayo na Isko can become president without Mindanao? So, a kind of a minus Mindanao president, is that even possible? And is that why parang Cebu is so prominent dun sa strategy ni Isko? Kasi yun nga, medyo hirap na hirap si Isko sa Mindanao. His numbers have been very low, like 2 to 5 to 3%. Like that's nothing, right? Compared to what Pacquiao or even potentially Sara or Bongbong can get. So is the strategy here consolidate Cebu and NCR and balance Luzon, and maybe that will be enough for him to get the 16 million votes, something like that?
Sa Mindanao, talagang yun pa yung kailangang ma-figure out. Hindi pa siya talaga ganun ka. Pero ang sa Mindanao
naman kayo, 'di ba? I mean, maybe Samira can help at least in her province. Yun. Yeah, so, in her province,
we started sa western part.
Right.
Sa Muslim areas ng Mindanao.
Lanao, yeah, sure.
Lanao, Marawi. So doon I've been following yung mga moves ng team doon sa Mindanao area. And maganda naman yung reception.
Yeah.
So
I think Samira's choice was very good in that sense. Very good choice. Very good choice.
Ang nagustuhan nila yung Muslim cemetery na ginawa ni Isko sa Manila.
Yeah, very sensitive kasi si Yorme, no, doon sa concerns ng community natin, tsaka yung mga brothers sisters natin.
Manila has a very big Muslim population
biggest,
din. So
biggest in Luzon, right? I think biggest outside Mindanao. So it's like the second home. Right? So very big factor yan. What else did you notice with sila Gwen Garcia and you know the
Garcia.
situation in Garcia, sorry.
Gwen Garcia yung Viva
sorry.
Hot Babes.
sorry. Gwen Garcia kasi yung taga Baguio na ano, di ba?
Yung Viva Hot Babes. Oh, kaya
Pero,
nga.
maganda naman si si
Oo,
Governor
parehong
Gwen,
maganda
diba?
si Gwen
Di
Garcia
ba?
tsaka Gwen
Chinita din
Garcia.
niya. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to insult. It was actually a backhanded compliment. Anyway, actually not even backhanded. It was an unintended compliment kay Ma'am Gwen. Okay. Kay Governor Gwen, anong reception niyo sa kanila? Ano yung feeling mo? Anong sense mo sa kanila? And how is Cebu different or similar to Manila atmospherics pagdating sa elections and politics and all of that?
Si Gwen parang
if any.
Parang may level of confidence itong si Gwen eh. Talagang
Yeah.
Actually,
Ma'am
Garcia. Ikaw lang naman yung nagsabing Garcia.
Oy,
hello
Garcia.
Garcia.
Mamaya sa TV ko pa sasabihin, Ma'am Garcia. Okay, yeah.
Hello Garcia ka dyan. So
Yun
yung
lang.
actually hindi ko din sure kasi merong vibes din na itong si Governor Gwen might be aiming for a national position pa rin.
VP ni Sara.
Hindi ko alam eh. Hindi, definitely not Sara. Kasi Mindanao, Visayas.
So Bongbong.
So I don't know eh. Pwedeng senador, pwedeng ano.
Right.
So may ganung vibes pa rin eh. But I'm not
sure.
Kasi,
I'm not surprised. I'm just wondering what position kay position.
Pwedeng senador, pwedeng vice, I don't know. Pero kasi yung kanyang tawag dito, social media, ang kanyang tagline or kanyang moniker, yung tawag sa kanya, ang probinsyana.
Yeah, nakita ko 'yan.
'Di ba? So kung Cebu lang tatakbuhin mo, you probably wouldn't use yung probinsyana na tagline eh. Kasi
Manila yung target mo diyan.
Kasi lahat kayo doon probinsyana.
Probinsyana
kayo doon lahat.
Walang special.
Walang special eh. So I'm not really sure if meron pang ganun plano or baka before pero decided na lang to stay in Cebu. Pero
hindi ba risky yan if she runs national and then loses? Hindi ba risky yan sa kanila back home? Wala pa silang mga rivals or some people who can
I think she will go up against the Duranos.
Right. Which are related to Duterte's, right? Exactly.
Yata. I'm not sure.
If you look at the ancestors nila Duterte, Danao sila galing. They're related to Duranos. Yeah. So, in a strange way, maybe Sara is kind of good to them because they're like a outgrowth faction of Duranos, no, from Danao. So, I'm just saying, like, it's very interesting because Cebu din yung background talaga nila, Duterte. Talagang old times, diba? Bago sila lumipat sa Mindanao via Western Visayas. So yun yung history ng mga Dutertes. Siyempre, I had to write a book on President Duterte, so I had to research that. No? So Cebu talaga. So that's why maybe Sara feels very home in Cebu and she looks like the natural choice. No, so I think that would be very interesting.
For Sara is Visaya speaking. And so merong natural na ano doon.
Of course.
If she's not running, yun na. It's up for grabs na for the other candidates. So,
Mark, do you want Sara to run or not? I mean, even for selfish reasons, right? Do you think it's better for Isko if Sara runs?
Parang oo. Not for any strategy or ano kasi dapat ready ka naman sa lahat ng possibility.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying like
just to see lang
is it
what
a more
happen.
preferable situation, a more competitive than just bongbong talaga?
Just to see lang what the Dutertes will come up with para mapatakbo itong si Sara.
Kasi the Dilawans are really, the Rosas ones, they really want Sara to run because they wanted the two to split it talaga. So that's what I know from that side. They keep on saying, kasi I keep on saying,
looking at it now, parang hindi. Parang I think the Dutertes gave up na at this point.
Yeah, my sense is that rin na parang ano bang added value wala naman rallying effect. Tapos kung ever parang okay, hindi naman surprise ang tao. So yeah.
So you know what that means? You know what that means? Come 2022, the Dutertes will be leaving Malacanang. Wala nang Duterte sa Malacanang. Goodbye na sila. So after November
but they
15,
still have the vow to protect, right? May mga competition din sila sa Mindanao. I mean, remember the Hukbong didn't do well against Alvarez, and Alvarez has allies also in Davao region and all, you know what I'm saying? So, and then there's the Nograleses, they're allies now with Duterte's, but they have been rivals in one way or another in Davao. So I remember there was a Davao analyst who said back in 2015, if Duterte did not win the presidency, baka jeopardize yung buong position nila sa Davao. So medyo nag-all-in sila. So I think we tend to forget na parang Davao is, Duterte land yan. But actually, it could be more competitive. And this is politics, diba? Sara is very solid, but Sara is like the matriarch. So it's important andun si Sara kasi baka kung wala si Sara, mahirapan yung the rest of the Duterte family. So I think this is what people tend to forget na we talk about prominent local leaders who have national position, but we forget that back home they also have Game of Thrones situations. They have to secure their house, literally the house of Duterte in Davao. So I think that's something to keep in mind. Now, let's go back again to Marcos because I think naisip natin, Mark, we want to do a serialized battle sa whole Marcos
series
saga. Yeah, so let's do that.
On a more specific subject para sa mga Marcos, yung kanilang ginto. Okay.
Ayan.
So ito, sabihin ko lang din, I told you this earlier, pero iniisip natin gumawa ng series. Pero ang hiling ko, Richard, kailangan meron tayong open mind, okay? Let's medyo open mind tayo dito sa topic na to. Ito, kasi I interviewed a Cebuano kahapon, okay? So medyo
pare, pag sinasabi kasi open-minded, alam mo, naalala ko yung mga frat. Pare, dito tayo sa frat, open-minded lang tayo. Yung
mga networking.
Kagad may alam mo kang may mangyari dyan eh. Open-minded lang tayo, bro.
Networking.
Hindi ako open-minded.
Hindi, I'm just saying lang na malay mo may ginto talaga. Diba? Malay mo ba, Richard?
Pala kayo dyan. But I
malay
think it's worth examining, right? It's an issue worth examining.
Kaya nga with an open mind. Pero balik tayo dun sa Cebu.
But Mark, let me let me say, not because I believe there's the gold, it's because maraming naniniwala sa issue na yan. So, from the perspective of public discourse, we have to talk about it, I think. No?
Okay.
Ito yung position ko. So, even
Fair
if I may not believe I'm sure there are gold out there. I just don't believe the Marcos version of events. But for me, daming naniwala dito, so dapat meron tayong masasabi dito eh. Yeah.
May nakausap ako na sa Cebu, sa Colon. Nag-vlog ako doon tapos nakausap ko si Manong. Tapos siya talaga na video ko pa na post ko doon sa vlog ko. He really believes na Marcos nabayaran before he became president ng gold. He saw this sa internet eh. Sabi niya dahil sa internet nakita na hindi pinapalabas sa news.
Of course, internet.
From the Talano. So binigyan si Marcos ng napakaraming ginto. Tignan mo, you're laughing kagad. Sabi ko lang open-minded. So binigyan siya
open-minded ako pero open din mouth ko.
Binigyan siya ng maraming
may nakita kong sa Instagram na parang richest people on earth, di ba? Tapos Talano family, Marcos family, Trump. Tapos Rockefeller, tapos Elon Musk yung number 5. Tapos nakalagay source TikTok Nation.
Okay. Ito lang, tumatawa ka agad eh.
Talo pa si Elon Musk.
Mag-uusap pa lang
ibang
tayo.
klase to.
So ganito. So kinausap ko siya and naniniwala siya talaga na yung mga ginto na yon nasa Switzerland, nasa Europe, tapos nagpapautang doon sa ginto sa mga iba't ibang bansa around the world. Tapos yung interest noon yun yung ginagamit pampautang doon sa mga ibang bansa. Tapos ang parang nabilin ata nung ni Apo, ni Ferdinand,
right,
na ibibigay ito sa Pilipinas kapag naging pangulo na yung anak ko. So parang gano'n. So merong paniniwala na
parang may kilala ko na ganyan na kilala mo si Eddie Hill nung tumakbong presidente.
Tinan mo yung naman. Seryoso nga yung natin. Papasukan mo na.
Seryoso ako. Si Eddie Hill. Tumakbo siyang presidente 2004 at sinabi niya, pag akong nanalo, bayaran ko yung utang ng Pilipinas.
Hindi ba si Eddie Hill yung may 500 lahat ng tao?
Basta yung si Eddie Hill na may pilukang itim, meron siyang kanta with Madam Auring.
Hindi ba yung Eddie Hill yung
open-minded lang tayo.
500 monthly?
Bro, open-minded lang
parang tayo. Andrew Yang eh, di ba? Si Eddie Hill ang Andrew Yang ng Pilipinas. So naniniwala siya talaga. So doon ko na-realize, naisip ko, teka, sabi ko kuya, dahil pinagkatiwalaan mo ko na i-record ka, sabihin mo yung sayo, sabi ko, hindi kita kokontrahin. Okay,
Ikaw pala may kasalanan eh.
you do your own research, mag-research ka. Ako, hindi ako naniniwala. Gusto ko munang makakita ng ebidensya. Yun yung sinabi ko sa kanya. Pero hindi ko siya, kasi...
Ano bang ebidensya? Meron kang gold?
Teka lang. It's not, hindi ako ang mag-ano. Ba't ako maghahanap ng ebidensya? Para naman mabibigyan ako ng ginto na yan. So sabi ko, mag-research ka, you do your research, tingnan mo. Ako hindi ako siguro. Tapos alam mo, after nung usapan namin, nagtatanong na siya, ikaw ba tingin mo, totoo kaya talaga? So parang medyo nagdududa siya ng konti. Sabi ko, kuya, gusto ko muna makakita ng ebidensya. Hindi, isipin mo, bro, kung ganun lang kadali na sabihin yung tao na, kuya, walang ganyan, kuya. Hindi, dapat na bago mo na yung isip ng mga ibang kababayan natin. Pero hindi, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
Hindi sila madaling maisipin nila na ikaw kasi isko ka, ikaw kasi Lenny ka, kaya mo ko sinasabihan ng ganyan. So after nun, doon ko naisip.
Okay.
Nagpaalam na si kuya.
Sige, let's examine this seriously. No? Okay, let's rigorously subject this. So first of all, there are two lines here. One says that, so there's the Yamashita treasure aspect. Si Rogelio Rojas, a gold hunter, ang nag-claim na, he met some Yamashita guy, like descendant, and then they found somewhere, may gold siya, pero kinuha ni Marcos sa kanya, tapos pinakulong siya. So, noong 1988, nung wala na si Marcos, parang nag-file siya ng kaso na parang Marcoses owe him gold. So, there's that one line. And kami na taga Baguio, napakasikat yan. Bata pa lang ako, narinig ko sa lola ko yung Yamashita treasure, no? Because, of course, this goes back to Yamashita, the Japanese military leader, no? Nag-retreat sila doon sa Cordilleras, di ba? Later, nung papalik ng mga Amerikano. So, tinago daw yung Yamashita treasure. Ito yung loot from entire Southeast Asia, Malaya, etc. Tiger of Malaya ang tawag sa kanya. So, some of that could be in some of the caves in Cordilleras and some parts of the country. So, yun yung mas narinig ko nung bata ako. So, speaking of open-minded, I'm just telling you, bata pa lang ako, yan ang narinig namin sa Baguio. Kaya parati sila sa amin, lola ko, mayroon ako nahanap na mina, baka may gold dyan or something like that. So that Yamashita thing keeps on echoing.
So Marcos daw found that Yamashita gold?
No, ba yung Rogelio Rojas, some gold hunter, some treasure hunter guy, daw ang nakahanap.
Rogelio Rojas really existed? May tao talagang Rogelio Rojas?
Na nagkaso talaga. Nagsampa ng kaso. Right? So there's a person called Rogelio Rojas. Hindi Rojas. Pero Rogelio Rojas na former Filipino soldier. So baka soldier ito nung panahon ng I don't know,
World War
II or World War II. So anyways,
Japanese,
ayon sa kanya, meron siyang nahanap, parang may na-meet siyang Hapon na connected kay Yamashita, mga siguro anak niya, something like that. Nahanap niya, meron daw silang titulo, parang permission to excavate, kasi may proseso yan, hindi ka naman pwede mag-excavate kung saan-saan. Pero later on daw, parang nag-deal siya with a cousin of Marcos, parang judge yata dyan sa Cordillera or something. Tapos parang niloko daw siya. Tapos kinulong daw siya ng 1 year. Tapos tinorture daw siya, ganun. Pero hindi daw siya nagsalita nung panahon ng martial law, tsaka si Marcos. Pero nung wala na si Marcos noong 1986, noong 1988, lumabas na ito. No? At kinakasuhan niya itong mga Marcoses na dapat ibibigay daw siya ng treasure. So that's the one line of the gold argument. Okay. The second line is the one that you were talking. So it's not just one. Marami yan.
So meron yung kay Rogelio Rojas, Yamashita treasure.
Rogelio Rojas is the Yamashita treasure. Right?
Meron naman yung sa Talano.
The other one is the Talano. So sino mga Talano? Ito daw yung mga Maharlika. Pero sino ba ang mga Maharlika? So ayon sa mga people who believe they are descendants of Talano, sila daw yung royal-blooded monarchy na in charge of the Philippines. So sila ang pagmayari dito sa lahat ng lupa sa Pilipinas. So
anong lahi yung Talano? They're Spanish or Muslim?
Well, if Maharlika, that means Luzon elite, 'di ba? So yun yung meron tayo. Something like that kasi 'di ba meron din version yan sa mga ibang kunyari Himawa sa mga Bisaya, 'di ba? Yun yung version nila ng Maharlika, no? Tapos yung mga Bagobo, yung mga Bukidnon, meron din silang version. They are roughly if I use the Indian, kasi Maharlika comes from a Sanskrit Indian word Mahardika, no, which means a person with knowledge, merit, and skill, no. So parang sila mga gladiators na parang warrior class sila na either ex-slaves or ex-first ranking elite and then natalo sila, so second rate elite na sila. Pero parang nobility pa rin sila. So, nung dumating ang mga Espanyol, sila yung parang mga next in command after mga datus. And parang freeman ang tawag sa kanya, mga hidalgos or libres, no? If I could use another example, they're like gladiators who got their freedom, something like that, na warrior class. So they're not so they're also similar siguro to the Kshatriya class in India. Kasi meron silang Brahma, yung pinaka sa taas, then Kshatriya, then yung pinakamababa, of course, yung mga untouchables, diba? So may Sanskrit roots yan. So more Hindu ang roots ng Maharlika niyan. So Maharlika. And then, of course, ang tanong dito is, did such thing even exist? I'm not talking about the Maharlika, but the Talanos as a kind of... But the problem kasi the problem, Mark, kasi yun nga base sa mga pag-aaral na meron tayo, whether yung mga testimony ng mga friars nung dating panahon, whether historians like William Henry Scott's, whether yung mga iba't ibang volumes na ginawa ukol dito sa Philippine history, there's no mention of a kind of a national monarchy. Kasi, Mark, just to be honest, the Philippines was not really an integrated monarchy back then. Even not even Manila and not even Luzon, sorry. In fact, Manila was under the suzerainty of Brunei. So we were actually part of kind of Brunei Kingdom, right? So yung mga Raha at saka mga Datu meron tayo dito, they were still under some other king, sultan there. And then sa south ng the Philippines, of course, we had the Muslim sultanates and Muslim leaders. And then of course sa Visayas, we had naman the pagans and people like, alam mo na, di ba? Yung mga heroes natin, yung mga pumatay kay Magellan, among others. So the Philippines was not an integrated nation state. So the claim that there was a national monarchy has no basis in fact.
So doon pa lang, questionable
but
na.
This is where kasi it gets tricky. Nagsampa ng kaso isang Talano na claim someone belonging to the Talano family who supposedly gave billions of dollars siguro in dollar terms to Marcos, and even Jokno yata sinama yung tatay ni Jokno bilang lawyer nila. And then parang ito ay medyo pumasa sa mga preliminary courts. And then later on, pumasok yung Court of Appeals yata and all na, what the hell is this all about? So may pagka-legit nung una eh. Kasi I don't know what happened.
What year itong kasong to?
Well, this is post-Marcos era. No? Okay. So let's double check kung kailan to. But it shouldn't be so long ago. But it is probably within the last 20-30 years siguro. No? We can double check that. So the thing is, there are people who still claim to be the
descendants.
They come from the Talano, descendants of the Talano family. So at yun nga nakita ko sa Instagram, may post na 5 richest people on earth. Na una yung Talano family. Ito Marcos yung second. And then si Elon Musk yata number 5 pa lang. $300 billion lang yata meron si So ang Talanos daw nagbigay na 192,000 tons of gold. Oh my God. I think that's bigger than the treasury of US and other countries combined. So
ito nabasa ko, ito nga pinadala ko sa iyo sa kbl.org.ph.
So ito yung partido nila Marcos, di ba?
Partido nila Marcos before. So, I'm not sure if it's their official pero yun sinabi nila nga dito na the Talano clan paid commission to Father Diaz and Attorney Marcos in gold. 30% from the principal of 640,000 metric tons. So the 2 richest man in the world in 1949 were Father Jose Antonio Diaz and Ferdinand Marcos. So yun na yung sinasabi nila.
So ito bro, so Julian Talano, ayon dito sa report ng Inquirer.net, nag-claim siya na siya ang heir ni Raha Sulaiman at Lapu-Lapu, sinama-sama. A descendant of King Luisong Hagyan or something like that, okay? Now, kailan yung court case? In 2002, yung Court of Appeals issued a temporary restraining order, TRO, on 3 Pasay courts rulings that validated Talano's claim. Oh my God. These rulings were by Pasay City Judge Ernesto Reyes on July 7, 1997, July 11, 2001, and October 2001. So may judge dyan na pumatol sa kaso na yan. And then pumasok yung Court of Appeals. Parang na-skandalo yung iba. Ano to? Wait lang, may claim daw siya sa buong Pilipinas. Let's not forget, guys, Spain colonized the Philippines, right? Diyos ko, ang tagal nun, di ba? Do you think that the Spanish will allow the local, leaders to have title? We were under the royal authority of the Spanish king. Like parang nag-disappear ito sa Talanos as if the Philippines was not colonized, di ba? And then, of course, dun sa Treaty of Paris, binenta ng mga Espanyol ang Pilipinas sa Amerika, di ba? So this just doesn't make any sense based on historical evidence, international legal precedents, and treaties na meron tayo. But this is where I want to ask a question, Mark. Why would the Marcoses push this line? Marami silang gold na nakuha, whether sa mga Talanos, nasa KBL website to, di ba? Or sa Yamashita. Guess nyo, why would the Marcoses claim that?
To get back into power. Yun ang isang posible. Yun ang isang ano. So,
why would they claim that mayaman sila dahil dito? So obviously they're not denying.
Yun lang ang dahilan. So actually ang ending ng story ako doon sa kay Kuya sa Cebu na nakausap ko. I made a vlog after namin mag-meeting. Mag-meeting after namin mag-interview. Ay sinabi ko sa vlog ko, ito, ganito kasimple. Sabi ko, ito, kung makapaglalabas ng actual na ebidensya si Bongbong Marcos mismo na merong ginto sa Europe, sa Switzerland, kung saan man, at yung ginto na yon iuwi sa Pilipinas para ipamigay kung nanalo siya, iboboto ko si Bongbong Marcos. Yun yung challenge ko sa vlog ko. If he can prove, o siya mismo mangako, o pakita niya, o kung video man, o kung ano man,
that makes him worthy of being our president just because may gold sila?
No, I will give him my one vote kung mapatunayan niya yun. Kasi yun nga.
Mark, let me answer my own question. The Marcoses have a lot of money and they're accused of having that stolen from the Filipino people, right? So how do you explain that? You'll say, no, we didn't get that from Filipino people. That some imaginary royal family gave it to us. Or siguro si Rogelio Rojas ay nakahanap na Yamashita treasure. See, that's the value of this story. This story allows the Marcoses to completely shunt aside the whole ill-gotten wealth issue. To say, yes, we are wealthy, but ito ay legitimate. Dahil galing ito kay Yamashita treasure or mga Talano family. The problem is, ang kredibilidad ng claim na yan ay kasing taas ng claim ni Bongbong Marcos na graduate siya ng bachelor's
from
Oxford University.
That should be in your SALN. Diba? Nasa SALN dapat.
Exactly. And ITR. Kung marami kang gold,
sa taxes din. So yun ang punto doon. Kaya nga sa akin, it's not hindi na ako yung magre-research pa. It's up for Bongbong to prove to us na totoo yung storya na yan. Hindi yung ang nagsasabi niyan, yung mga vloggers niya, yung mga supporters niya, yung sila Gadon o kung sino man. Si Bongbong mismo magsabi, meron ba talagang ginto na naghihintay para sa mga kababayan natin kapag nanalo ka? Kasi kung wala, then stop spreading. Sabihin mo sa mga tao mo to stop spreading yung kanilang misinformation. Pinapaasa yung mga Pilipino na meron silang matatanggap na ginto. Kasi ang naririnig ko, ang kumakalat na balita, may umiikot sa mga barangay, sa far-flung barangay. May listahan. Palista po yung mga makakatanggap ng ginto.
Ponzi scheme talaga to, Ponzi scheme.
Makakatanggap ng ginto kapag manalo si Bongbong Marcos bilang presidente. So imagine kung pumunta doon yung SWS o Pulse Asia, sinong sasabihin ng mga tao doon? Sinong iboboto nila? 'Di ba? So merong ganong anggulo.
Alam mo ang sagot, ang sagot diyan. Pag ako tatakong president Karibal si Pong, sabihin ko, pag ako presidente, magpapasa ako ng executive order, hanapin ko yung Yamashita treasure at bibigay ko sa tao. Just as simple as sasabihin ko, pag ako presidente, hanapin ko yan. Kunin ko yung, si Elon Musk, kunin ko si Jack Ma, hanapin ko yung saan sa Pilipinas. Yan lang sagot ko dyan. Because, Mark, you're asking someone who cannot even be honest about whether nag-graduate siya sa Oxford, to be honest about Yamashita treasure and Talano family and all that.
No. It's not even just the na meron yung Talano or Yamashita treasure. It's yung belief na pag nanalo siya, ibibigay sa Pilipino.
Right. It's a scam. It's a scam. I mean, it's a scam. I mean, let's just be honest about it.
I'm giving him a chance
But wait,
napatunayan
Mark,
na
let
meron
me be very
talaga.
clear. Did Bongbong say this himself? Because I want to be fair to the Marcos family. These are the supporters, right? I didn't hear this from Bongbong, so I want to be fair to Bongbong Marcos. I didn't hear Senator Bongbong Marcos coming out and say, I'll give go. Now, of course, we can say he has a responsibility to check with his supporters and all. But ito, I'm just being fair to Bongbong, no?
Yeah.
It's different kung narinig ko from Bongbong mismo yan. So, ibang issue yan. Yeah. But
that's why ang hinihingi kong ebidensya for me to give my vote to Bongbong, dapat sa kanya mismo manggaling.
But Bongbong would say, wala naman akong sinasabing ganun eh.
But no one has asked him. No one has asked him.
You think the media should start asking? Sige, yan siguro itanong namin sa kanya.
Yun ang
next year.
Ang point ko nga, people are like the guy I talked to in Cebu, naniniwala sa ganitong storya. Now, without hearing it from Bongbong himself. I want to hear kung anong sasabihin mismo ni Bongbong sa story na yan. May ginto ba o wala? O kung merong ginto, ibibigay nyo ba sa Pilipino o hindi? O kung oo, ilang metric tons ng ginto ang ibibigay nyo? At paano nyo ibibigay? Raffle ba yan? O yung sa listahan ba yan?
Uy, parang gusto ko rin mag-check Baka meron tayong makuha dyan.
Yun nga. Yun nga.
Meron pa daw Luna Gold? Anong sabi mo? Meron ka sinabi eh. Meron pa iba eh. May ibang gold pa daw, hindi lang Yamashita.
Yung kay General Luna. Meron
kaya nga, Luna Gold.
Meron din yun.
Diyos ko, nanganganak ng ginto.
Nung anong American, ano naman yun? Nung Philippine-American War.
Yeah.
O syempre, di ba yung may mga loots, mga naluluto sa mga lugar-lugar.
Magre-retreat sila General Luna kasi gusto nila pumunta sa Cordilleras para mag-last stand. Okay? So Pangasinan dapat to kasi pinatay siya, di ba? On the way to Baguio, hindi siya umabot.
Tarlac.
Yan, Tarlac.
Tapos merong chismis na yung parang isang girl daw, yung lover ni General Luna doon napunta. Tapos yun yung naging basihan ng yaman ng isang prominent na pamilya doon. So parang ganun. Parang ganun yung...
Wait lang, Aquinos ang Tarlac, di ba? Makakuha ko ang Tarlac, di ba?
Basta yun.
Baka connected na naman nila yan. Okay.
Yun yung isa pang urban legend or provincial legend or
sige bro.
Rural legend.
Let me control myself because medyo too much to information na yes to sa.
Pero yun ulitin ko lang yung aking sinabi para sa mga audience natin. So yun yung aking punto doon sa vlog ko at doon sa
We dare you. Mr. Senator.
Hindi.
Evidence.
If pangit naman na dinedare ko siya Basta ang sinasabi ko lang, kung makakapaglabas si Bongbong Marcos, siya mismo ng ebidensya na meron talagang ginto at yung ginto ibibigay niya sa Pilipino, pamimigay niya sa tao, yung isang boto ko mapupunta sa kanya. I will not endorse him, I will not campaign for him. Pero yung isang boto ko...
Why would he care for your one vote? Bro, meron nga siyang kaso dun sa ITR niya. Tapos sabihin mo, hindi
that's why I'm not daring him nga I'm not daring him nga Ang sinasabi ko lang na syempre yung mga tao sinasabi ko, Mark, magbongbong ka na, Mark, kay BBM ka. Yun ang ko, kung gawin niya yon, kung mapatunayan niya na merong ginto, na merong ipamimigay na ginto sa bawat Pilipino, ilang ginto yan, paano yung pipili ko sino yung bibigyan. Yung isang boto ko mapupunta kay Bongbong. Yun ang aking parang sinabi doon sa vlog. So yun lang.
Hindi dare, pero sinabi lang.
Not exactly dare kasi pangit naman, 'di ba? Na dinedare mo yung isang kandidato. So gusto ko lang makita kasi maraming naniniwala na Pilipino dito. And sinasabi, 'di ba? Sinasabi nga malakas nga si Bongbong sa mga kalye surveys. Fine, sige malakas si Bongbong, pero kasi marami doon naniniwala na bibigyan sila ng ginto. So yun ang tanong ko, totoo ba talaga yan?
Okay.
So yun
yung let's try to end on this note. Let me just emphasize na meron tayong tinatawag na PCGG, no. So ito yung government agency, yung Presidential Commission Good Governance, no, na binuo after the fall of Marcos regime to recover ill-gotten wealth. So yung sinasabi ng mga iba diyan na wala naman kaso kila Marcos, they have been proven innocent. They're talking only about few cases na nanalo sila, but they lost a lot of other cases, by the way, including the highest court in Switzerland said dapat ibalik yung some of the pera. Ang sinabi ng PCGG is 174 billion pesos ang na-recover so far at 125 billion more is to still be recovered from the Marcoses. So billions of dollars po ang pinag-usapan natin dito. Some of these funds was actually so 79 billion pesos has been distributed to farmers through the Agrarian Reform Program. So ito ay na-account na ito, 76 billion to farmers through the Coco Levy Trust Fund, at 11 billion pesos naman has been earmarked for the compensation of human rights victims. Ito ay ayon sa isang boss ng PCGG, no, si Mr. Agbayani, no. So
itong mga to kinuha doon sa mga corporations o sa mga bank accounts, halo-halo na ng mga properties.
Halo-halo. So for instance, Singapore, may isang Singapore court na nag-award ng $23 million in Marcos ill-gotten wealth to the Philippine National Bank a few years ago, no? So iba't ibang banks ang involved dito, no? So kasi ang daming mga accounts, offshore accounts ng mga Marcoses and all. In fact, up until recently doon sa Panama Papers, ito yung nag-expose ng mga secret accounts ng mga politicians, celebrities, mga mafioso, whatever around the world. Lumabas ang mga Marcoses dyan, no? And of course, more recently, yung Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism nag-release din ng Pandora Papers na hindi lang mga Marcoses, may iba rin na may mga offshore accounts na patago, no? So all I'm saying, Mark, here is that these stories, these fantastical stories, these conspiracy theory stories are a perfect cover for the Marcos to say, yes, mayaman kami, pero ito ay galing sa whatever, Yamashita or Rogelio Rojas or I don't know, some imaginary, my only thing is that the Marcoses are not the most credible people when it comes to any kind of claim as grand as this. And dami nilang inconsistencies in terms of their claims. They cannot even be honest about whether nag-graduate sila or hindi. No? I'm talking about the two main kids, political kids of Marcos. But anyway, so ang gagawin natin dito is this, because sabi mo nga, open-minded tayo. Wag tayo snobbish. So ang gagawin namin, this is a promise, we're gonna invite historians, like serious historians, no? At pag-usapan natin itong mga kwento nito, at the same time, pag-usapan din natin ano ba talaga nangyari kay Yamashita on his retreat, ano ba itong kwento ni Rogelio Lopez, ano itong mga maharlikas in history. So, don't worry folks, we are nice people, we wanna have proper discussion. So even if, syempre medyo nakakataas ng kilay yung mga ibang istorya na narinig ko dito, we're willing to have a proper serious discussion about it. So don't worry, sa mga susunod na episodes, we're gonna have guests. We're gonna talk about these issues in detail, no? In a scholarly way, no? Kung ano ba talaga ebidensya, what are the pros and cons. Happy ka na, Mark?
Yon, and if mapatunayan na meron talagang Talano Gold, yun ang promise ko sa mga nanonood na mga pro Marcos. Yun ang pangako ko sa inyo.
Sige, ako rin. Yun na, dalawa kami. Hindi lang vote. I will go around the world and say they're saving our country. Umutang ng Pilipinas sa bayaran nila.
Yun ang pangako ni Richard. Ako, boto lang siya, dinagdagan pa niya.
Hindi sapat ang boto ko. Pag babayaran nila yung buong Pilipinas ng gold bar, sige lang, go tayo.
Yun.
Alright.
So, dalawa na kami. Okay.
That was good. So in the future, magkakaroon din tayo ng Treasure Hunter serialized podcast, no? Para masaya, hindi lang tayo mga purong serious politics lang at punditry. So gagawin din namin mga adventure, no?
Adventure. Pandora.
Thanks. Yes, totoo yan. Ano yung PS5 game, PS4 game, Enchanted ba yan or something like that? Yung pupunta siya mag-treasure hunter. At saka yung kay Angelina Jolie, di ba meron siyang movie, yung babae?
Lara Croft.
Naglalaro ako ng PS3 dati. Yun. Tapos mag-Jumanji, King Kong, ganun tayo mamaya. Sige, maganda yan. We are serious people, but we are playful and we want to also engage, di ba? Hindi naman pwede mga pro side lang magsalita. Kami mga outsiders, I think we have to engage this issue based on evidence, discussion, analysis, and suggestion. Any last points, Mark?
Yun lang.
Yun lang. So, kung
meron kayo nung listahan, baka pwede nyo ako sabihan, makikilista na din kami ni Richard.
Paki-email sa
malay mo, totoo eh.
Paano ka mag-register dyan?
Paano mag-register? Dilista kami ni Richard. Sama nyo kami. Kaya nga kami gumagawa na series.
Ako nandyan sa Baguio eh. Diretso na sa kanya.
Actually, we are, kumbaga, pinapaalala namin kay Bongbong na, oy, yung mga supporters mo, ito yung ine-expect sa'yo, di ba? So, di ba? Parang we try to
pro gold kami, pro gold, pro life, pro Philippines.
Pro Philippines.
All right. Ito, episode 21, no? 21, no? So here we are, guys. So episode 21, this is another back and forth discussion. Kanchawan, seryoso, treasure hunter discussion with Mark. But next, we're gonna have a great guest, a Filipino young scientist, an award-winning scientist, a record breaker in the world. Pang Guinness Book din yan. Hindi lang si Marcos, no? Although yung kay Marcos not necessarily positive yung Guinness niya. So we're gonna talk about West Philippine Sea, environment, marine science at Pilipinas, of course. Yun ang next topic natin. So please stay in tune and we're gonna get to even more discussion and analysis. And yes, babalikan namin itong mga Marcos Yamashita treasure with historians and experts to discuss this in detail with an open mind. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat.
Bye-bye. Project Pilipinas.
Episode 21. God bless.